as a team, we got to make sure that the process that we do have is ramped up, and that we have a better attitude, more energy, and doing a little more when we're out there.
So DeShone, can it light a fire under you in some ways to have to go stand over there and then get put back in?
Absolutely. I stayed on my same path though, and trusted the process. I knew that there was going to be another opportunity for me to potentially play this year, and obviously it came sooner than most expected.
You talked about all along how hard you've worked. So can you change anything about that? Can you change anything about the way you personally approach it?
Absolutely. You got to have a better attitude. You got to do more. That's what this game is. It's doing more. And for me, my personal process I think has been good, and I'm going to stick to it, and I'm going to stay on the path that I'm on. But now it's just attacking it with a new energy, a new mindset, and allowing myself to get out there and perform better.
Hugh, go ahead, Hugh talked about maybe you learned Sunday from watching just how important it is not to turn the ball over. I mean, did that point get driven across even more than when you're out there playing?
Absolutely. When you're on the sideline, you get to feel the momentum of the game a little more than when you're out there. You can to see the reactions of everyone, from the fans to the coaching staff to the defense. You get to see all the different parts that move along throughout a game. And for me, it really showed last week the importance of making sure that the ball is just simply out of harm's way and what positive plays can do for a team.
That's kind of where I was going. As far as the red zone turnovers, that's what Hugh's been really harping on. Is there a common denominator with those, DeShone? Is there something that is you forcing it there, or is it a mindset that has to change once you get inside there?
Yeah, it's definitely tighter. Coverage becomes a little different. Teams become new teams in the red zone. It's a whole new game down there. But at the same time, I think from the quarterback perspective, it's understanding that there's points on the board. Once you get the ball inside of 40, 35 yards, you got to accept that there's a field goal there waiting to happen. And if the play doesn't look exactly how you like it, it's not a bad play to make sure that you're still kicking the ball. It's all about keeping the ball out of harm's way, and that's something that we've been preaching consistently since the first game when the first pick happened. And I've been working to improve on that, but it's now making that not a part of the game anymore, and making sure that we're going out there and not beating ourselves and allowing the opponent to do whatever they can and try to stop us, because we're coming at you.
What's your perspective on watching that game? It seemed like there was no throws over the middle in use.
I think it's a coincidence. There wasn't much of a game plan that took us out of the way from the middle, but my perspective was just trying to learn as much as I can and making sure that I can figure out what can be used on the sideline to help the quarterback out there. I'm trying to think how Kevin's thinking, and what can I do on the sideline to make sure that I'm helping him. And now that I have a couple things that I was able to do for him that I was thinking about, we'll be able to incorporate that into our quarterback room's process.
But DeShone, this whole business about not turning the ball over, I mean, you've known that going into all these games, so how difficult is it when that moment arrives to do what you've been saying here, throwing it away or whatever?
It's very difficult, and that's why we have the turnovers that we have. But it's on us to make sure that we attack it even harder, and we continue to think about it, and we don't allow it to slip our minds. You get out there and you try to pretend as if each week is a brand new week, but quite frankly, we're heading down with a trend that's not good for us. So you got to be able to recognize it and realize it every time you're out there. And now it's about going out there and, once again, just trying to keep the ball out of harm's way, allowing our technique and our work to be shown out in the field rather than a couple missed lapses every game.
DeShone, how can you accelerate the process of trying to get some chemistry with a couple of guys on this team so that you have your go-to guy or two that you can make plays with?
Yeah, we continue each week to get better. As much as our record's not showing it, I truly believe that the team we are now and the team we were week 1, week 2 is completely different. There is chemistry. I know my guys. I know my receivers all the way across the board. There's no new faces in this locker room today, and I look forward to continuing to work with these guys this week and having some success with them out in the field.
Was the decision to start you this week, were you told it was a decision that's week to week still, or is it a commitment?
That's not anything I can control. I think it's understood now that if you're not performing, there's definitely going to be a guy who can perform. But it's on me to make sure that question never comes back up, and go out there and do my job to my best of my ability, and make sure that number 7's out there leading his team for years to come.
Is everything still kind of in front of you as far as the final 10 games? Do you think you can accomplish everything you wanted to, that you set out to do week 1?
Absolutely. You know, we've lost 3 games by 3 points, and we know that if we can not turn the ball over in the red zone, that those would be 3 wins, and we'd be right down the path that we want to be heading on. I apologize. So with that, I think all goals are still there. You know, we still have another half of you know, division play that we have to go out and try to execute on. We have quite a few games in front of us that we can go out and win. But for us right now, it's about stringing together 1-0s, treating each week as one of its own, and making sure that we're grinding as hard as we can to make sure that we're successful that week.
Same for you personally?
Yes,
Do
absolutely.
everything you want to do?
Absolutely.
You mentioned a couple weeks ago about your tight circle of people, quarterbacks, former quarterbacks. Are any of the people that you dealt with, had gone through something like this, where they've been taken out of the lineup or benched or whatever, and were they able to give you any?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's last week I was able to reach out to all the people who are close to me and trying to adjust, you know, my mindset and what I'm doing to figure out what I can do to get back out in the field and be successful. And in that, I've learned that. You don't always have to revamp. You don't always have to change up everything. You know, I believe truly and trust in that the process that I was on and the path that I was on was in the right direction. Now it's just about doing it more and doing it harder and creating some success through it. And that was the biggest message that I received, is that you don't have to, every time something big, a big roadblock happens, go back and change everything you're doing. You just need to, you know, realize where your flaws are and attack those ones, and once again, do it all harder and better.
DeShone, as we were heading into last week's game, there was a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson, that the offense that they're running is collegiate, and you know, they are doing a lot of things that he feels comfortable with, and getting him eased into the NFL that way. Are there more things that you think that you would feel comfortable doing that you can bring to them and say, can we do some of this stuff that I can do better?
You know, I'm pretty confident in the game plans that we've been putting together. You know, I think that my playing style is one that fits quite a few different, you know, styles of offenses. And when I first got drafted here, I understood exactly how Coach Jackson goes about game planning. And I'm still very confident in what we're doing. I don't think that there's much that we need to change. It's just about executing the game plan that's put in front of us.
Have you ever been 0-6 on a team?
Yeah, in 7th grade, playing for St. Pius. We had a not-so-good baseball team that we were on, and we started actually 0-11. But we finished out the season 11-11 and went to the championship game. So I've been here, and I've overcome, you know, some losses and a tough start. Obviously, it was in some CYO baseball, but at the time, it was pretty cool.
Who was that first win against?
Couldn't tell you. I wish I could.
What about the championship?
Championship, we got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. The only reason we made it that far is because half the teams took off most of their good players because they were already sitting in good standing, and then they all came back, obviously, for the championship and murdered us.
Are you aware at all that you know, that like a Derek Carr went 0-10 before he won any game?
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I think that the message is already put across on how hard it is to win. And for me, when you have the small separation between a successful season and a not so successful start to a season, you get to realize that there's always something that you can be doing. And for me, 0-10 and 5-5 in this league are very close to each other. And I'm trying to make sure that we can do whatever we can to realize those things that are stopping us from being, 3-3 rather than 0-6, and focus in on them. Obviously, it's turnovers in the red zone. It's lulls at the beginning of games. It's a bunch of small things that we've been able to recognize, and that we're going to continue to attack each week and make sure that when we come out on the other side of this. Maybe we can win by 3 points instead of losing by 3 points.
DeShone, one other option inside the red zone is to just load up and hammer the ball on the ground, which some other team, Tennessee, does that.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion about?
Well, it's about taking what you.
Interception came on second down. There was a first down throw.
Right. It's about taking what the defense gives you. I mean, if you go back and you look at the turnovers that we have, every last one of them is on a really good play. It's on me as the quarterback or on, someone else on not executing their job within that play. So I don't think that you need to necessarily go away from what we're doing because we're running the right play. It's about executing that play. It's about putting the ball in the right spot. It's about making sure the ball's out of harm's way. It's not about necessarily the scheme that we're running. Yeah, do we have a good running back and a great offensive line? Yeah, and if the opportunity presents itself to run the ball more, I'm sure Coach Jackson will do just that. But until then, we're game planning perfectly down in the red zone against everyone we're playing against. But it's about the players executing what coach is game planning.
Hugh said he talked to you during the game, during the Texans game, a bunch, during breaks or whatever when the defense was on the field. What were kind of the messages he was talking to you about?
He was just making sure that I was locked in on learning something. Every time in the second half we came together, it was like, "What'd you see? What'd you see? What'd you see?" That allowed me to stay engaged and made sure that he understood that I was out there getting something from sitting out in that game. And from there, those conversations are what are going to lead this week of practice and make sure that we can continue to head in the right direction.
You're trying to learn a new system, new offense, new players, teammates, et cetera, et cetera. You're also at the quarterback position as the leader of the team. So you find that that's all a lot to juggle and handle at one time?
Yeah, and that's why this is, in my opinion, the greatest job on earth and also the most difficult job on earth. All those things come into this, and for me, I'm learning every day different things that I can do as a quarterback to help this team, and that's why it's a process, and that's why typically it takes some time for guys to become the Tom Brady's and Peyton Mannings of the world. But I'm enjoying it. There's no other place I'd rather be than right here going through the things that we're going through because I'm learning who I am personally. I'm learning about everyone around me, and it's just going to make it that much sweeter when we do figure this thing out and I figure this thing out and become the quarterback that I want to be.
Enjoying it even with the losses and the
Absolutely.
negativity that goes with it?
Absolutely. It's the best job in the world. You can look at this in from a bunch of different perspectives. And for me, this opportunity right now in front of me is the best opportunity you can possibly have. To walk into a team who just won a Super Bowl and we're undefeated, it would be a completely different situation. You'd be able to learn in a different way. But for me, this is the best opportunity for me to learn about myself, learn about my teammates, and what it takes to win in this game.
You mentioned earlier, wanting to be that guy to lead this team for years to come. This team has a bunch of draft picks, two in the first round, three in the second round next year. With that comment, I was wondering, do you think about kind of the opportunity to show that you can be the guy?
No.
They don't need to draft one early.
No, I'm not too worried about years to come. Right now we're 0-6. Right now we're doing whatever we can to go out and get our first win, and I'm sure that if I become the guy that I can become, those draft picks are going to do nothing but take this from a good organization to a great one.